What does Scotland treasure more than its windswept hills, wild weather, and centuries-old legends? That's right, the glorious nectar known around the world as Scotch whisky. But what happens when the pride of the Highlands runs headlong into the maze of British politics? Imagine pouring your finest single malt, only to watch politicians dilute it with a mess of taxes and tariffs. Would you take another sip, or spit it out in disgust? Welcome to BENNIFER News, your go-to spot for cutting through the political fog. If you're hungry for stories where drama meets policy and billion-pound industries hang in the balance, do yourself a favor and smash that subscribe button right now. Don't miss another drop of our sharpest takes. So picture this. Scotland's whiskey makers are facing a storm fiercer than anything rolling off the North Sea. And at the center is Chancellor Rachel Reeves, whose recent Scottish escapade left distillery owners with a sour aftertaste. Was she there to fix things, or just to sample the local spirits and hope the real issues vanished like morning mist? The answer, according to SNP's Graham Ledbetter, was as helpful as a raincoat made of shortbread. But let's unravel what's really shaking the casks. Is this a case of Westminster indifference, or a masterclass in political self-sabotage? Let's set the scene with a twist of economic irony. The whiskey industry, Scotland's liquid gold, should be pouring billions into the UK economy. Instead, it's being battered by a double whammy: American tariffs and Labour's relentless tax hikes. Thanks to Trump-era trade tantrums, Scotch faces a 10% tariff in the US market, with threats of a 25% hike looming. That's not just a slap on the wrist, it's a full-on mugging of Scotland's exports. And just when you'd hope for relief at home, British politicians decide to squeeze the industry with even higher national insurance contributions. Why kick the distilleries while they are down? Is this just political carelessness? Or does Westminster have a secret recipe for disaster? Now, here's where the plot thickens. Reeves' much-publicized trip north was billed as a listening tour, but insiders say it was more like a box-ticking exercise. Did she address the tax burden crushing the industry? Did she offer hope to the thousands of Scots whose livelihoods depend on whiskey? Or did she simply pose for photos, sip a dram, and hop back on the train? Ledbetter didn't mince words. He called the visit a flop, demanding Reeves return and actually tackle the tax hikes choking the sector. But can politicians really admit mistakes? Or is that as rare as finding a unicorn in a Glasgow pub? Let's stir in some cold, hard facts. According to the Scotch Whisky Association, Treasury revenues actually fell by £300 million after tax hikes in 2023. A case of raise taxes, lose money that's so baffling, it would make any accountant reach for a drink. And Labour's answer? Even more taxes. This is the fiscal equivalent of trying to put out a fire by tossing on more whiskey and then acting shocked when the flames roar higher. Why do governments keep making the same mistakes? Are they blinded by short-term gains? Or do they simply not care about the industries anchoring the economy? But wait, the drama doesn't end there. At Prime Minister's questions, Ledbetter unleashed a tart rebuke, accusing the PM and Chancellor of having no clue and no care for Scotland's signature industry. Is this just political theatre, or a genuine warning that centuries of tradition and billions in exports are being sacrificed for political convenience? Think about it. Whiskey isn't just a drink, it's a symbol of Scottish identity, a global export powerhouse, and the backbone for tens of thousands of jobs. When Westminster fumbles, it's more than just lost revenue. It's a blow to a nation's pride. Now, here's the twist. Will Labour finally admit their missteps and give the whiskey industry the support it deserves? Or will they keep doubling down, risking a crisis that could echo for decades? Will Scotland's most iconic export survive this political hangover? Or will future generations raise a glass only to toast what once was? We want to hear your thoughts. Are politicians out of touch? Or is this just the cost of doing business in a turbulent world? Drop your comments below. But maybe keep your whiskey in the glass, not on the keyboard. If you crave more stories where politics, power, and real people collide, don't forget to subscribe and ring that bell. Here at BENNIFER News, we'll keep pouring the truth, straight, no chaser. See you next round.